What's going on, my friends? Dr. Marcus here. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for subscribing. Please tell your friends. Our purpose of this YouTube channel is to help people reach their fullest potential. I am a chiropractor and I'm always recommending the habit of chiropractic for all my friends and family because it's one of the most important habits we can have in our journey toward reaching our fullest potential and achieving massive levels of success. I'm also here to help folks be massively successful. Success always leaves clues, friends. And if we look for these clues, like we look for road signs when we're traveling, it can let us know that we're heading in the right direction. So, mentors are huge. Why reinvent the wheel when we can strive for excellence every day and learn from people who are further along than we are in different areas of life? Now, as a chiropractor, I've reached what I would consider an extraordinary high level of understanding of my craft. We work with the philosophy and we apply that philosophy in our practice through the techniques that we utilize and the education that we bring to the public. And one of the things I love to do is educating the public on how I can really help people live better through my craft, creating massive levels of value and certainty and the ability to close everyone who's closable. Now, I have learned many of my skill sets, techniques in communication and in success in general through, mentors from ranging from Gary Vaynerchuk, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Richard Bandler, and it's, the list goes on and on. And two of my mentors, Grant Cardone and Jordan Belfort, two people that I admire, I resonate. And you know what? Let me tell you something. They ain't perfect. We all have a past. And one of the things that I've appreciated about both of these mentors is that they've always been pretty upfront and honest about their past. Recently, there was a podcast. Jordan Belfort has a podcast. It's a fantastic podcast called The Wolf's Den. He hosted the Wolf's Den with a guest, Grant Cardone. So I was so excited because I've studied both of these, mentors of mine extensively. I had been a member of Cardone University. I love it. Went through every video, relentless, daily, tremendous amounts of videos. And Grant has his own podcast that I've actually called in and been on more than one time. And I enjoy what Grant has taught me about the obligation, duty, and responsibility to be successful, and about selling and about closing, and so much great information that I get from watching Grant's podcast and from my subscription to Cardone University that I was very glad that I made that investment. I also invested in Jordan's material, in which both Grant and Jordan, I've read all their books, and Jordan has incredible stuff that his audible books, his written books, he had a series that I purchased online that was a series of videos from seminars that he taught, equally great information. And if you were to say to me, what is the biggest difference between Grant and Jordan? Grant has intense information that is selling, closing, retention, follow-up. And Jordan, where Jordan shines is in his structure, in the straight line structure. You put them together, as I've done with for chiropractic NTSC Institute, and for the public PSC online training, or PSC training center, I'm sorry. And to my knowledge, I'm the only person who's done that on the whole planet. Putting them together, both are geniuses in their own right. And Grant, when he goes and he gets in his flow, you'll be listening, thinking this guy, he's all over the place. And he doesn't appear that way, because even on the university, it seemed to be that as much as the courses, because it's kind of broken down into categories, courses and chapters, the courses were organized very good. The structure of the actual sale was not, because he'll talk about stay in the sale, go back to the close, stay in the close, go back to the sale. But you had no real vision of a structure of how do I know I'm in the sale? How do I know if I'm in the close? Where Jordan, in his straight line, you know exactly when you're in the intro, the body of your consultation or the body of your sale, and the close, and how to loop back into the body of the sale, the body of the consultation, and create massive certainty. Logical case, incredible emotional certainty, and smashing limiting beliefs. Brilliant. Jordan goes over 5 points that have to happen if the sale is going to take place. One is creating emotional certainty about you, about your product, about your company. So that's 1, 2, and 3. 4th is lowering the action threshold. And 5 is raising the pain threshold. And he gives a lot of great information in tonalities and NLP, which, by the way, Grant claims to hate NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, developed by Richard Bandler, who Jordan worked with, Tony Robbins worked with, and Grant is doing. I don't think he has really been taught or has the really working knowledge of the fact that everybody does NLP, because NLP is simply the psychology of communication, whether that communication is with ourselves or with other people. And that's my definition of it, because it's a vast study. And it's things that we use regardless if we are aware of them or not. So the more aware of communication techniques we are, the better we can communicate. And Grant's whole thing is you're trying to trick people. It's insincere. The reality is this: if you're insincere, you're going to be insincere with everything you do. It's not a school of psychology. It's not a skill set, and it's not a technique that determines if you're sincere or insincere. It's your character. People say the love of money is the root of all evil. It's totally not true, and it's not scriptural either. The reality is this: money is indifferent. It's the maturity and the character of the person possessing it that determines how money is going to be used. Does that make sense? So, of course it does. I was so excited for this interview. I was so excited because I look up to both of these people. They have a past. Both of them have a rough past, and they've been very open about their past. And they've taught me so much. They put together so much, because in my office, if you were to say, I am limited by the truth. I am limited by honesty. I am limited by sincerity. I have one type of service that I provide my community, and that service is what is in their best interest to do. I'm the chiropractor you see for a very long time. So when we're doing sales, when we're doing closing, it's imperative. And to me, there's only one way to do it. The only sale is sales that are honest, transparent, totally straightforward, and congruent with your values. Anything else is bad sales. I want nothing to do with it. I want to be totally honest with everybody that I am working with, because it's sustainability. Everything about my office is based on repeat service, because people who come in and sign up on my programs come in 2, 3, 4 times a week for the next 20 years. It has to be a good fit, or we're all going to be miserable. And I'm far too happy to be miserable. So after combining all of this information that I gained, and I've researched these guys like crazy, I've read everything they put out there. I've done everything they have online. The only thing I haven't done is gone to a live seminar yet. My associate's gone, though. He loved it. He went to 10X, one of the 10X events put on by Grant Cardone. So with that being said, the build-up to this amazing podcast, Jordan Belfort and Grant Cardone. The big build-up, and now here comes the massive letdown. Jordan, who understands a bit more about communication, was doing the interview. And Grant, who in the past has had animosity toward Jordan Belfort, he simply has had animosity there, didn't come across as sincere as I hoped that he would have. It felt like he had an agenda to discredit Jordan. So we never got to see the real Grant in this interview. And that's a disappointment, because Grant is brilliant. And I felt like, and I had a dear friend, my friend Scott Timpanelli, amazing chiropractor, over in South Carolina, say, look, you just saw the human side of Grant. Because I love these cats, man. They've helped me out so much. And I felt like Jordan was asking these great questions. Jordan was really working hard to try to establish rapport. Grant seemed to have the agenda to discredit Jordan, to almost humiliate him at times. And quite frankly, for Grant, it got a bit embarrassing. And now I've seen some videos posted by Grant that was being, disrespectful to Jordan. And I've now seen, videos on YouTube by Jordan Belfort that's being disrespectful to Grant. And the reality is this: they are two great minds. They're perhaps two of the greatest sales minds in the world today. Now, Grant's claiming he hates sales. Well, I don't think you hate sales, because, Grant, you got really good at sales. That's why you were able to sell as many cars as you were able to do and help the automotive industry as much as you did, which ultimately led, if I'm not mistaken, to Cardone University being created, which is absolutely fantastic. If keep in mind, I don't say with pride that I'm the only one that I'm aware of that actually combines Jordan and Grant's strategy. I would love for these folks to get together and let their genius unwind. And they're both passionate guys because they're so good at what they do. They're extremely passionate. So when I see that, Grant's calling Jordan unpleasant names or not mentioning his name and just saying things that are not very pleasant in reference to Jordan, and Jordan, calling Grant out, he's not a sales guy. He totally doesn't know anything about it. Well, he does. It just wasn't the proper physiological state. And I know Jordan Belfort, you know what I'm talking about because you work so extensively with Richard Bandler. He had an agenda, and the agenda was not productive or sincere towards the advancement of the understanding of both of your crafts. Both of you guys are geniuses in your own right. And I'm saying this because I've studied both of you extensively, and you've inspired me and you've motivated me to bring perhaps one of the greatest products to chiropractic since chiropractic, because I help chiropractors be more successful through sincerity, honesty, transparency, and congruency that you taught me. And I'm also now bringing that to the public because success is universal. It's not limited to any one profession. There's a structure that everybody can use by simply plugging in your profession, your area of expertise, and being able to bring that to the world with powerful congruency, sincerity, and communicating massive levels of value. And the ability to close everybody who's closable. Because if you can't close people, it doesn't matter how great you are or what you do, you're going to struggle at best and probably not be in business very, very long at all. So check out the interview. Let me know what you think. Drop me some comments down below. Like my video, please share. I would appreciate that because we want to get our message out there. The reality is this: success leaves clues. Anybody can do what I do. And that's my intent, to empower people to take the time and take the action to invest in yourself, because you will never, ever exceed the level in which you invest in yourself. So your success never exceeds the level in which you invest in yourself. The more you invest in yourself, the more successful you will inevitably be. It's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in a month. It's a continual lifetime process. And in the end, you got to do something. Why not get smarter? Why not get better? Why not perfect your skill and live to your fullest potential and make the difference in the world that you were created to make? And at some point, everything in life comes down to our ability to communicate it. So check out Jordan Belfort's Wolf Den. Check out the podcast between Grant Cardone and Jordan Belfort. Now, there was no doubt Jordan Belfort shined. Jordan Belfort was a class act. Jordan Belfort kept trying to establish rapport. Jordan Belfort kept trying to get the information that Grant has to the people watching his podcast. Grant simply was not in the emotional state that would allow him to articulate that information. There was times Jordan really did establish rapport, and I thought it was great. I'm like, okay, great, we're going to get rolling now. And we get into rapport, boom, then we get out of rapport. So I don't think this discredits Grant Cardone. I just think it shows his human side. And what I really hope is Grant takes full responsibility. Grant, as you taught me, 100% responsibility for the actions, and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, it could have been better. Yeah, I do have some issues with this guy. I don't care for him very much. Well, if you're going to go on the podcast with a desired outcome of something positive for the world. And Grant, let me tell you, brother, you're a master at NLP. You just don't realize it. So look into it a little bit more, because I really think there'll be things that you will say, I'm already doing that. When I'm watching you and Jared, Grant, when I'm watching you and Jared go, you're using NLP. You are mirroring each other. Watch Jared as he mirrors you. And you know what? It works because we all mirror each other. Our children mirror us from the moment that they're born. That's why much more important than what you say is what you do. Because we as humans have mirroring neurons. We are constantly mirroring each other. And if we're aware of this, maybe we can produce better actions and raise better children. You guys get where I'm going with that. So two of my mentors that I owe so much to and I'm so thankful for continue to teach me so much. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this video here as well. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel, and please let all your friends know. Live with power, live with passion, live with purpose, and I'll be talking to you soon.